Good morning, students. In the last class, we were discussing about the classification of magnetic materials. Right. In continuation with that, the magnetic materials in which the orbital magnetic moment and electron spin magnetic moment cancel each other, resulting in net magnetic moment of zero, are called as diamagnetic materials. So, what are diamagnetic materials? Diamagnetic materials are the materials in which, right, diamagnetic materials are the materials in which the orbital magnetic moment and electron spin magnetic moment cancel out each other, resulting in a net magnetic moment of zero. Examples of diamagnetic materials are lead, copper, silicon, diamond, graphite, sulfur, sodium chloride, and others. Right? The magnetic materials in which the orbital and spin magnetic moment do not cancel each other, resulting in some net magnetic moment, are called paramagnetic materials. In the diamagnetic materials, the orbital magnetic moment and electron spin magnetic moment cancel out each other, resulting in zero magnetic moment. In paramagnetic materials, the orbital magnetic moment and spin magnetic moment, they do not cancel out each other, resulting in some net magnetic moment of the atoms. Okay. In the paramagnetic materials, atoms are oriented randomly. Right. In the paramagnetic materials, the atoms are arranged randomly. When the external field is applied, right, each atomic dipole moment experience the torque. Right. Due to this, what will happen? The atomic dipole moments, they will align in the direction of the external field. Okay. This is in the paramagnetic materials. Examples of paramagnetic materials are tungsten, potassium, and others. Movement due to electron spin magnetic moment, that is the materials in which the atoms have large dipole moment due to electron spin magnetic moments, are called ferromagnetic materials. So in the materials in which the dipole moment is large, so such materials, due to electron spin, such materials are called as ferromagnetic materials. In ferromagnetic materials, the adjacent atoms line up their magnetic dipole moments, right, in a parallel fashion. Okay, so the region in which the magnetic dipole moments arranged in a parallel fashion, they are called as domains. Okay, so these are ferromagnetic materials in which the dipole moments align parallel to each other. There are few properties of the ferromagnetic materials, right? So these ferromagnetic materials can be strongly magnetized with the magnetic field, and these, even after removal of the magnetic field, even after removing the magnetic field, some magnetic field will remain in these ferromagnetic materials, which is called as residual magnetism. When these ferromagnetic materials are heated to certain temperature called as Curie temperature, they will lose their magnetic property, right? They will lose their properties. So these are few of the properties of the ferromagnetic materials. So a magnetic domain is a small region in which all magnetic dipoles are aligned parallel to each other. Okay, so we can see here, if this is the figure which shows the alignment of the magnetic dipoles. So there are different domains. Okay, so here the magnetic dipole moments are arranged parallelly, right? So here they are parallel, but directions are different. In different domains, the directions are different. In the same domain, the direction remains the same, but when we consider different domains, different regions, their directions are different. Okay, so you can see the directions like this. So here it is downwards. Okay, so in different domains, the directions will be different, but if you consider the same domain, single domain, then the directions are parallel to each other in the same direction, right? The materials in which dipole moment of adjacent atoms line up in anti-parallel fashion, they are called as antiferromagnetic materials. That is the materials in which the dipole moments lie in the anti-parallel fashion. So such materials are called antiferromagnetic materials. Examples of antiferromagnetic materials are oxides, chlorides, right, sulfides, and others. Ferrimagnetic materials are the materials which get affected in the external strong field lesser than the ferromagnetic materials, right? So these ferromagnetic materials get affected in the external strong fields much lower than that of the ferromagnetic materials. So ferrites are the examples of the ferromagnetic materials. Then we have the supermagnetic materials. The property of the supermagnetic material is that even though each particle of it contains certain magnetic domains, but these magnetic domains cannot penetrate in the adjacent particles. The magnetic domains of the supermagnetic materials cannot penetrate or move into the adjacent atoms. So such materials are called as supermagnetic materials. Examples of supermagnetic material is the common magnetic tape that is used for audio, video and data recording. So these are the different properties of the magnetic materials. Let us move into a new topic called as magnetization and permeability. Magnetization and permeability. In any magnetic material, the electrons revolve in the orbits around the positive central nucleus. If we consider the center as the nucleus, this is the central nucleus, right? Surrounding the central nucleus in the orbit, the electrons will be revolving. So electrons will be revolving in the orbit, in certain orbits, right? So electrons also rotate or spin about their own axis. So electrons will be revolving around the central nucleus, and also the electrons will be revolving in their own orbit. The movement of the orbital electrons and the movement of the electrons about the nucleus and nuclear spin produces some magnetic field, right, similar to that of the current loop. So when these nuclear spin, the spin of the electrons surrounding the nucleus, the spin of the electrons in the orbit produces certain magnetic field. The current produced by the charges, that is the electrons, the electron spin, the nuclear spin, so such current is called as the bound current. Bound current. So bound current is the current that is produced due to the bound charges, that is the electrons, the electron spin, the nucleus, these are all bound to the nucleus, the electrons are bound to the nucleus. So the current produced in such a way is called as the bound current. Whereas the current produced due to free charges is called as free current. Free current. Free current is the current which is produced by free charges. They are not bound to the nucleus. The field produced due to movement of bound charges is called magnetization, represented as m bar. So the field produced due to movement of bound charges. Field produced due to movement of bound charges. Movement of bound charges is called magnetization. Magnetization. And this is represented by m bar. Right? So what is magnetization? It is the field produced due to movement of bound charges. Consider the current IB flowing through a closed path. So let us consider the current IB which flows in a closed path. Assume that this closed path is enclosing the area ds bar. Right? Suppose if we consider the closed path like this, okay, if current say is flowing is IB, then the magnetic dipole moment is given by, as per our previous class derivation, m bar is equal to the current multiplied by the area ds bar. So if this area is ds bar, IB into ds bar, this gives the magnetization. Consider the differential volume delta V. Consider differential volume delta V. Assume that there are n magnetic dipoles per unit volume. There are n magnetic dipoles per unit volume. So what will be the total magnetic dipole moment? So total magnetic dipole moment is obtained by adding all the individual magnetic dipole moments. Is it not? So if we add all the individual dipole moments, then we get the total magnetic dipole moment. So how to add them? So we have to add them. M total magnetic moment is nothing but summation. We have to add all the dipole magnetic moments. A is equal to 1 to n delta V. N delta V, that is individual magnetic dipole moment, summation of this. Now A is equal to 1 to n here. A is equal to 1 to n. So for n magnetic dipoles, it is for n magnetic dipoles, right? So n delta V means for n magnetic dipoles, right, total volume will be n delta V. For one individual dipole it is simply delta V. For n dipoles, for n magnetic dipoles, it will be n into delta V, right? So now magnetization is defined as magnetic dipole moment per unit volume. Magnetization is defined as magnetic dipole moment per unit volume. That means m bar is equal to dipole moment per unit volume. So it is summation A equal to 1 to n delta V m A bar. This is divided by 1 upon delta V, that is volume, and we are applying the limit as delta V tends to 0. So m bar is given by, magnetization is given by limit as delta V tends to 0, 1 upon delta V, summation A equal to 1 to n delta V m A bar. The previous equations for, that is we had taken equation 1. Let us take this as the second equation. Okay, m equal to IB into ds. M is equal to I into ds. That is the first equation. Okay, then next was m total. This is the second equation. M total, this is equation 2. Then next is equation 3. Right? So if we consider differential volume delta V, let us consider the volume like this. This is the volume delta V. Okay, so here we are considering the same volume delta V. So if the external field is applied, if the external field is not applied to the material, then what will happen? The magnetic dipoles are arranged in random fashion, right? Like this. The magnetic dipoles are arranged in the random fashion. Okay, they are arranged in random fashion like this, right? So as they are arranged in random fashion, what will happen? The net magnetic dipole moment will be 0, right? Because they cancel out each other, and the net magnetic dipole moment will be 0. If the external magnetic field is applied, if external magnetic field B bar is applied, right? If external magnetic field B bar is applied to this differential volume delta V, then what will happen? So these dipoles will align themselves in a direction of the magnetic field. They will all be aligned in the direction of the magnetic field like this. Okay, so there will be some net magnetic movement due to the applying of the external magnetic field B bar. Let us consider alignment of magnetic dipole along a closed path. Let us consider alignment of magnetic dipole right. This is, we consider here, this is M magnetization. M is equal to IB ds. This makes an angle theta with dl. This makes an angle theta with respect to dl. Current flowing is IB. Okay. So from this figure, what we'll come to know, it is clear that magnetic moment m bar makes angle theta with the elemental length dl bar, right? So this component along direction of dl bar is nothing but projection of m bar on dl, right? That is, magnetic dipole moment is perpendicular to the surface. So you can see here, this is inclined. So magnetic dipole moment is perpendicular to the surface area ds. So if you want to obtain the magnetic moment making angle theta bar with theta, making angle theta with dl, you have to consider the differential volume which is defined by this differential surface. Okay, so what is the differential volume? It is area multiplied by the length, correct? So if we consider differential volume, then differential volume is defined as ds bar in dot dl bar, right? It is a product of the surface area and the length. So this is nothing but ds dl cos theta. Okay, it is a product of the area and the length along the direction of the angle theta. Here it is dl cos theta, so product of this will give the volume. So what is ds into dl into cos theta? According to the dot product rule, it is ds bar dot dl bar. Yes or no? Right. So now what will be the total number of what is only the total magnitude of the current IB? The magnitude of the current IB here. Yes, for unit current we have ds bar dot dl bar. Therefore for IB current, okay, so for unit current, right, it is n into ds bar dot dl bar. For unit current it is, therefore for this is for unit current, okay. Therefore for IB current, okay, what will be the total current? So n into IB into ds bar dot dl bar. For unit current it is n into ds bar dot dl bar for n dipole moments. Therefore for IB current it will be n into IB into ds bar dot dl bar, right? So let us write it in the equation form. So this in the equation form will be, that is dIB, this is n into IB ds bar dot dl bar. So that is, okay, so what is this dIB, n into IB into ds bar dot dl bar. N into IB into ds bar is total magnetic moment, that is m bar dot dl bar. So this is the magnetic moment, n into IB into ds, right? Total magnetic moment dot dl bar. Yes, the increase in current for part of the closed path is represented by this equation. So this represents the increase in the current for part of the path. So if you want for the total path, that is total increase in current, so we have to integrate this equation if you want the total current. So therefore IB, if I integrate this, then I will get IB. So this is equal to closed integral m bar dot dl bar. So then I will get the total current. Then what will be the total current of the particle or of the material? Total current of the material will be summation of, it will be addition of the bound current IB plus the free current I. This will be the total current, right? So total current is bound current, that is due to bound charges, plus the current due to free charges, that will be the total current. Yes, so this is equal to, according to Ampere's circuit law, total current is given by closed surface integral of magnetic field intensity dot dl bar. Is it not? We know that B bar is equal to mu naught H bar, or H bar is equal to B bar divided by mu naught. H bar is equal to B bar divided by mu naught. Therefore total current IT will be equal to closed surface integral, what is H bar? B bar by mu naught. So it is B bar divided by mu naught dot dl bar, right? So take it as equation 7. Now from equations 5, 6 and 7, what we get? I is equal to, IT is equal to IB plus I, or I is equal to IT minus IB. I is equal to IT minus IB. So that is I is equal to closed surface integral. What is IT? IT is this equation. So it is B bar divided by mu naught dot dl bar minus closed surface integral m bar IB is m bar dot dl bar. This is IB, equation 5, m bar dot dl bar. So as they are over the same integrals, right? So this I can write it as I is equal to closed surface integral b bar divided by mu naught minus m bar dot dl bar. This equation, let us compare with the expression of Ampere's circuital law. So expression for Ampere's circuital law is, equation of Ampere's circuital law is I is equal to closed surface integral h bar dot dl bar, right? So if we compare this equation, I is equal to closed surface integral b bar upon mu naught minus m bar dot dl bar with I is equal to closed surface integral h bar dot dl bar. So what we get here on comparison, we get h bar is equal to b bar upon mu naught minus m bar, or b bar, if we rearrange here, this will be h bar is equal to b bar minus mu naught m bar, this divided by mu naught, or mu naught h bar will be equal to right, mu naught h bar will be equal to b bar minus mu naught m bar, or mu naught h bar plus mu naught m bar, this will be equal to b bar, correct? So b bar is equal to mu naught into h bar plus m bar, right? Let us write it as equation 10. So this equation holds good for all the materials. For any type of magnetic material, this equation holds good. So for isotropic magnetic materials, that is the materials in which permeability and other properties are same throughout the material. So for such material, the equation map for magnetic moment is m bar is equal to xi m into h bar. Xi m into h bar. So xi m is nothing but, it's called as magnetic susceptibility, right, of the medium, magnetic susceptibility of the medium. So this susceptibility measures how much the material is susceptible to the magnetic field, or how much the material is susceptible to the magnetic field. So if we substitute this value of m bar from equation 11 in equation 10, right, from equation 11 in equation 10, then we get b bar is equal to mu naught, right, h bar plus what is m bar, substitute that. So m bar is xi m into h bar. So this is nothing but mu naught into 1 plus xi m into h bar, right? Or I can write this as, now b bar is mu h bar, or that is equal to mu naught mu r h bar, correct? B is equal to mu h, or that is mu naught mu r h bar, yes or no? So if we compare equation 12 and 13, relative permeability will be given by, if we compare this equation 12 and 13, what will be the relative permeability? So relative permeability, this is mu naught, this is h bar, this is h bar, b bar. So relative permeability mu r will be equal to 1 plus xi m, yes or no? So relative permeability mu r is given by mu r is equal to 1 plus xi m. So that is nothing but mu divided by mu naught, because mu is equal to mu naught mu r, or mu r is equal to mu divided by mu naught, okay? So this permeability mu is measured in Henry per meter. This is in Henry per meter. So if we consider the current densities, current can be expressed in terms of current densities. Let Jt bar be total current density, Jb bar, let it be bound current density, density, bound current density. Then J bar be the free current density, free current density. Then we have the various equations as IB is equal to surface integral JB bar dot ds bar. So JB bar is current per unit area. So area and area will cancel, you get the current. So similarly IT total current will be surface integral JT bar dot ds bar, and I is equal to, for the free charges, surface integral J bar dot ds bar, So from the definition of the curl, we get various equations here. From the definition of the curl, the various equations are del cross m bar, this is equal to JB, right? Del cross m bar is equal to JB bar. Then del cross B bar upon mu naught is equal to JT bar. Del cross H bar is equal to J bar. Right? So we know this del cross H bar is equal to J bar is nothing but the point form of Ampere's circuital law. So these equations we have written here based on the definition of the curl. Fine, students. So I hope everybody have understood. In today's class we have covered the topic on magnetic materials, classification of magnetic materials. Right? We have taken up the next topic, that is magnetization and permeability, right? And we have derived the equations for the magnetization and permeability, that is in particular to the relative permeability, the equation of the relative permeability, that is mu r is equal to 1 plus xi m, and we have written the various equations for in terms of the current densities. Right, students? So if there are any queries in these topics, send your queries to me. I'll clarify your queries. Thank you.